St. Louis has tremendous talent, resources, and sense of community. We support one another. We donate our time and money, and we find new ways to work together to solve new and long-standing challenges.
We have our challenges, but we also have our unique strengths. We can use St. Louis history and our culture of collaboration to move us forward.
Shriners Hospitals for Children chose to move back to the city, really because it's returning to our roots. We started here in 1924, and we are just elated to be moving back to the Central West End.
We at the Shriners Hospital for Children partner with Washington University for research because we believe it brings the best of both worlds. We bring our clinical expertise from Shriners Hospital with the research expertise of Washington University, and we can move the field forward for research and understanding of children's birth and traumatic injuries.
The mission of Shriners Hospitals for Children is really in 4 areas: orthopedic conditions, treating cleft lip, cleft palate, spinal cord injuries, and burns. But we also have a commitment to education and research.
We are really excited about our new basic science laboratory at the Shriners Hospital. We will investigate bone metabolism and growing new bone in kids.
Can you imagine a child born with a deformity, or perhaps a child that has an orthopedic injury, and that we're able to have that child grow their own bone tissue? That's what we work on at Shriners Hospital. This collaboration is really about Shriners Hospital having access to the great talent that's available at Washington University and BJC Healthcare.
The Lewis Place neighborhood has a rich history of middle-class African Americans. We had doctors, lawyers, school teachers, and a number of other folks who lived here, and a very rich community.
Today we're seeing Lewis Place being an area, a community of people wanting to come back to the community as opposed to moving out of it.
Well, when we were growing the company, we were looking for a place that was not only central in St. Louis, but was progressive. Working with James Buchanan and the other members of SLDC, who's allowed the Kingsway Merchants Association to grow, it gave us an opportunity to create a development plan to attract more businesses like mine to this area and service this community with opportunities to bring in business that the community needs.
We decided that to reduce healthcare disparities, the best way you do that is to locate your place where people can access you. And so we decided that the Central West End would be an ideal location for our practice. So we're very proud of the fact that this is the first freestanding urban surgery center in the state of Missouri.
You know, we're here and we plan on staying here. We hope we can stay here.
So we've been very busy securing what this neighborhood needs as opposed to creating something that just benefits the developers. And we've had great and tremendous support and cooperation from the Alderman, St. Louis Development, and even the mayor's office.
So we're all on the same page, which is wonderful.
Gateway National Bank was chartered in 1965. It is the first Black-owned bank in St. Louis. It's also the first in Missouri. Gateway National Bank provided full services in banking here in St. Louis for the African American community.
St. Louis Community Credit Union found out about the Gateway Bank opportunity from our partners at Stiefel Bank under the leadership of Chris Reichert and Adolphus Pruitt with the St. Louis City NAACP. They were trying to find a way to keep Gateway Bank in the community.
By then, I had built a relationship with Chris Reichert at Stiefel Bank, who was the president of Stiefel Bank, and Chris is a wonderful guy. The greatest thing in the world happened. He called a couple of days later and said, okay, we have a buyer for Gateway Bank.
It seemed like a natural fit to us because we served underserved populations all the time.
Of course, the next step was to contact the mayor's office. We talked with Jeff Rainford, then chief of staff. I said, hey, Jeff, we have an opportunity, say Gateway Bank. We got a buyer. Stiefel was involved. I think it'd be good for the city. And I think it took him all but about 5 minutes to say, okay, how can we help?
We were fortunate enough to receive a community development block grant from the city of St. Louis for $500,000 to rebuild and deploy the facility.
Prosperity Connection also received a $20,000 community development block grant through the city of St. Louis to be able to serve low-income folks who live in the North City community.
We had tremendous support from the city of St. Louis, from TIAA Craft Trust Company FSB, Sharon Tyus, the alderwoman, and the SLDC.
The unique thing was at no point in time did anybody reach a conclusion that we wouldn't get it done. Every discussion was about how do we get it done.
Gateway National Bank was a pioneer in its day for serving the African American community, and St. Louis Community Credit Union is continuing that tradition today.
The St. Louis region is expecting over $10 billion of new construction contracts over the next 10 years. We need to provide a vehicle for the minority and women-owned contractors to be able to provide access to capital. We found it through our research that that is one of the most significant problems that contractors are facing these days.
So about 26 or 27 months ago, Stiefel, Cortex, Twain Financial sat around a breakfast table.
We started discussing a very creative financing structure to build a loan fund that could be used to lend money to these contractors.
We needed to provide a mechanism for capital that would be working capital for these companies to be able to get through an entire construction project cycle.
John Dubinsky, who is the chairman of Cortex as well as Stiefel Bank, encouraged our small group to reach out to Mayor Slay and Jeff Rainford. And then Otis Williams and Howard Hayes of SLDC helped to spearhead early discussions with Brian Hulsher of MSD, Greg Moeller from BJC, Adolphus Pruitt from NAACP, as well as Yafet El Amin from MOCAN. The fund, called the Contractor Loan Fund, makes available to minority and women-owned construction companies below market rate construction loans of up to $1 million.
We've now grown to 40 different organizations in the community and in the private sector.
We applied for the Contractor Loan Fund because it is very hard for minorities to get the funding that we need to expand. And the Contractors Loan Fund offered us an opportunity to get financing that we couldn't get anywhere else.
We're a hauling company locally here in the St. Louis region. We're hoping to expand to further support the infrastructure projects in the St. Louis region.
The Contractor Loan Fund is a terrific example of regional collaboration of high-level executives of private and public organizations that have come together to form a much-needed, well-funded solution to a regional problem.
This started, believe it or not, over a couple beers with Jay. So Jay suggested, there's a local charity, Peter and Paul, that had a meals program and suggested we serve meals.
He was really jazzed about it, and that's when he said, we got to get our friends involved in doing this. You know, we came up with this idea of Sons and Daughters of Soulard.
See if we could get a, what we call a chamber with a heart established in Soulard.
And I kind of went to some of the business owners I knew, and the first three I talked to, when I explained the concept to them, that there's 1,300 chronically homeless in St. Louis, and that Peter and Paul Community Services has a system by which it houses them and provides psychological support for them and helps them deal with their challenges, and they have like an 85 to 90% success rate. And the guys, I said, we should be doing something for these people because they're right here in our own backyard. And each one of them said, yeah, I'm in, count me in. So today we've got pledges for $87,000. And we're really doing some good for people in the local community, and it's really having a great effect.
Peter and Paul Community Services has been working to end homelessness in the St. Louis region for more than 30 years. Our latest focus has been the Garfield Commons Safe Haven project. We took a former St. Louis public school building and renovated it into 25 permanent residences for formerly homeless individuals.
And the idea that you would give them a house first and then work on their issues, their challenges later, is a radically revolutionary idea that only started about 10 or 15 years ago. And it's literally changing the face of homelessness in America.
So it's been amazing that Sons and Daughters of Soulard has rallied volunteers, they've helped raise funds, they've come to the meals program, they've come to the shelter, and they're actually helping us in homelessness for citizens in our neighborhoods. That's just an amazing gift from a community organization.
Very often there is pressure on a single leader to make things happen in the region.
Find a neighboring partner. In fact, find 2 or 3.
When we come together, everybody wins.
St. Louis is a region. St. Louis City just happens to be the heart.
As these stories show, collaboration is more than just showing up. It is about looking for opportunities, pulling people together, and taking action.
Now is the time to widen our tent, look for opportunities to give back, and commit to getting things done for the good of everyone in St. Louis.
Don't tell me that nothing's gonna change and we'll remain the same all along.